Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, in previous lecture, so I have explained some portion of the DFA. It also I have given some example. I have explained this slide also. So now in next slide I have another example in which we have input 0 and 1, and we have three states. We have initial state and also final state. So now I will explain also this example for DFA, that how it works. Okay, so initial state, final state, symbols, alphabet symbols which are 0 and 1, these are the inputs, initial state and final state. Okay, so now this is also a DFA diagram that we have. So is I have explained the DFA diagram that there should not be the did configuration. So when you look at this here, the alphabets, input alphabets, input letters are 0 and 1, and we have three states: Q0, Q1 and Q2. Q2 is the final state and Q0 is the initial state. So you can represent it just like this. Okay, so now for Q0, what are the inputs? So look at this, just let me just draw a table for this, so then you will be easily understand this. Transition table. Transition table. Yeah, we can. Okay, so let me just write complete transition table. This is transition table that we have. So now in transition table we have present state. PS means present state, and this is next state. NS means next state for 0 and next state for 1. So now present state, what are the states that we have? So first we have Q0. This is the initial state. So now from Q0 the transition of 1 is moved toward Q1, and sorry, transition of 1 move toward Q1, and transition of 0 is moving from Q0 to Q0. Okay, so the next state for Q0 is also Q0. It means here we have loop. What is uh, the next state for 1 from Q0? So that is Q1. Okay, so in case of DFA, is in previous examples I have also mentioned that there must be a transition for each input. اینجا باید transition صفر باشه و transition 1 باید باشه. transition صفر که است او پس Q0 آمده و transition 1 که است او به Q1 رفته. صحیح است. Next state we have Q1. So from Q1 the state 0, transition 0 move toward Q2. Okay, this is transition table for this diagram. Okay, and there must be a transition of 1 also. So the transition of 1 is moving from Q1 toward Q1. So here we have loop, so it again move toward Q1. Next state we have Q2. So there must be transition of both 0 and 1 in case of DFA. NFA قسم NFA مقصد did configuration اونجا allowed است، خو اینجا allowed نیست. ها Q2 transition of 0 from Q2. So transition of 0 from Q2 is toward Q0. So it moves toward Q0, and transition of 1 from Q2 is toward Q1. So this is the transition table for this DFA diagram, okay, and which each and every state has transition for 0 and 1. So this is the DFA diagram, okay. So if you have any question related to this uh, transition table and this DFA diagram, so then you can ask. Okay, next what we have, so we have difference between NFA and DFA, NFA versus DFA. So fark بين NFA و DFA چی است؟ So اینجا ما نوشته کردیم did configuration is not allowed, did configuration is allowed. امی did configuration د لکچر گذشته ما تشریح کردیم، امیال ما در این مثال ما کار کردیم. ما گفتم که did configuration مقصدی است که اگر فور اگزامپل ما DFA دیاگرام میگیریم، اگر اینجا ترانزیشن 1 است و ترانزیشن 0 نباشه، اینپوت 2 است، 0 و 1 است. اگر ترانزیشن 1 از Q0 استیت باشه و ترانزیشن 0 اگر نباشه، نو باز ما میگیم که did configuration است. نو باید در DFA خب صحیح است، یک دفعه دیگه ما رسم میکنیم که شما خوب بفهمین. صحیح اینجا did configuration allowed و did configuration not allowed. For example این NFA diagram است. ما مثال چی دارم؟ 0 1 دارم، صحیح است. alphabet 0 1 است. For example for NFA this is Q1 یا 0 Q نوشته نمیگینم، ما دایرکت نوشته میگینم 0 1 2. So these are the three states that we have. For example here we have a input of 0, this transition has input of 1, and this transition has also input of 0. Okay, so now here we have did configuration. How we have did configuration? From this state, from state 0, which is initial state, from this state what we have, so here we have did configurations. So transition is 0 asta or transition is 1 nesta, no you did configuration asta, the NFA allowed us, no you kudam diagram as NFA diagram asta. Amiksem inja as state 1 هم که است، ما configuration 1 دارم و configuration 0 دارم، این درست است، مشکل نیست، صحیح است. خب state 2 باز اگر این final state، اینجا این final state است، این باز نه ترانزیشن 0 داره نه ترانزیشن 1 داره، این did configuration است. خود در DFA x هم نمی باشه، صحیح است. در DFA امی دیاگرام که هستن به خاطر 0 و 1 اینجا رسم است، برای DFA باید x هم دیاگرام رسم شود، باید x هم دیاگرام رسم نشود، صحیح است. باز NFA است، باز این DFA نمی باشه و این چی است؟ این DFA است. So there is no did configuration. هر state که است ترانزیشن 0 هم داره و ترانزیشن 1 هم داره، صحیح است. Next, second difference what we have, multiple choices are not available corresponding to an input. Multiple choices are available corresponding to an input. What does it mean? So in previous lecture I have also explained this, but right now I will again explain it. So here 0 and 1, these are the two letters in this alphabet, so these are the input letters that we have. So in NFA, for example this is Q0, this is initial state, Q1, and this is Q2, and we can say this is the final state. Okay, so transition of 0, transition of 0 from here, it has transition of 1 for example, and has back transition of 1 to Q0. If you look at this, so here multiple choices are not available corresponding to an input. Second input چی است؟ 0 است. از Q0 با چی رفته؟ با Q2 رفته و یک ترانزیشن دیگه از Q0 با Q1 رفته، صحیح است. हो transition input e transition वो input e transition same असतं. So this is allowed in NFA, no problem. Either NFA ची असतं allowed असतं. We can say that this is NFA, it is allowed in NFA, no problem. In the multiple choice are available corresponding to an input. In your multiple choice, same input as the in NFA, but in DFA this thing is not allowed. Look at this. So here from Q0 we have an input of 1 toward Q1. We have from Q0 we have an input of same 0 toward Q2, but this is not allowed in DFA, but this is allowed in NFA, no problem for NFA. Okay, but for DFA it will be incorrect, it will not be accepted. Okay, same case is right here. From Q1 we have an input of 1 toward Q2 and also the input of 1 from Q1 toward Q0. This is not allowed in DFA but allowed in NFA. So multiple choice are not available corresponding to an input in DFA, but it is available in NFA, no problem. Okay, so next, null transition are not allowed in DFA. Null transition are allowed in DFA. Null transition क्या the NFA allowed asked, but the DFA he allowed nest. सही is the null transition मिसाल म اینجا x جور میگیم ما میگیم که Q1 sorry Q0 بازی 1 2 for example I'm taking 3 4 this is A, this is B, and this is for example 5, which is the final state. For example, I'm making null transition as the null transition as the null transition as the this is also null transition. It is allowed in NFA, no problem. So null transition are allowed in NFA, but null transition are not allowed in DFA. The DFA case the null transition was DFA accept namikan and says the so this is also a difference between NFA and DFA. Okay, that null transition are allowed in NFA but not allowed in DFA. Next, digital computer uses DFA structure. So the real world digital computer are using the DFA structure. Ami structure DFA computer input ki megira sayista ma bachi represent mekinam amu structure amu digital computer structure kya is ma batao so the DFA represent mekinam. So DFA represent the real world digital computer, but NFA is not associated with the real computer. NFA क्या है real computer associated नहीं है भाई खातर किंजा DFA क्या है मकसद हर input क्या है या transition में दاشता باشن در DFA ما پیشتر گفتم मतलब did configuration اینجا allowed نیست و این چیز real digital computer represent making a structure صحیح است خود DFA क्या है sorry NFA क्या है वो real computer structure represent ना میکنه به خاطر که این did configuration زیاد داره صحیح است خب دیگه the DFA क्या है the DFA number of state زیاد می باشه و the NFA number of states कम می باشه. So number of states in DFA will be more as compared to number of state in NFA. چرا به خاطر که اینجا the DFA برای هر input state باید ما یک transition می داشته باشیم و باید یا با یک state برن صحیح است. نو diagram ای که است کمک پیچیده است و diagram NFA که است simple است صحیح است. همین فرق NFA و DFA است. So these were the 5 اینجا ما 4 نشته کردیم خب یک دیگه امی که ما گفتم که diagram DFA که است این کما که complicated است و NFA که است او کما که simple است صحیح است نو این simple structure داره و این مولا که complicated structure داره. You can write just like this DFA diagram is a complicated diagram structure, and NFA diagram is a simple diagram structure. So you can write in your notebook the fifth the difference between NFA and DFA, and here I have mentioned four NFA and DFA examples. Okay, so اگر کدام سوال بود کدام مشکل بود صحیح است دی فرق بین DFA و NFA مکمل باز شما پرسان کردم میتونین مشکل نیست. so I will answer those questions. خب بعد از این چند دیگه مثال های DFA باز ما کار میکنیم صحیح است و یک NFA چی قسم ما به DFA تبدیل میکنیم صحیح است no او را باز ما کار میکنیم. one thing should also one more thing should be keep in mind that DFA and NFA both are digraph. این چی است؟ digraph است. این ما شاید نگفتیم در چی در درس های گذشته. خب NFA و DFA امی که ما رسم میگیم مکمل FA که است صحیح چی است؟ digraph است. این یک گراف است. گراف مقصد امی استیت داره و ترانزیشنز داره و استیت با یک دیگه چی است؟ وصل است. این دایگراف است یا دایگراف را ما دایرکتد گراف میگیم. باز در مختلف کتاب ها باز نوشته است که دایگراف یا او مکمل نوشته می باشه که دایرکتد گراف. we can say FA یا DFA یا NFA. so these are the directed graph. so what is mean by directed graph? The directed graph, the graph in which the direction matters, okay, in which the direction is important. Okay, how the direction is important? So right here this is directed graph, this is also directed graph, and previous example we have DFA diagram, this is also directed graph. When we have undirected graph چی قسم است؟ مثال ما state میگیرم state 1 state 2 state 3. اینجا چی نمی باشه؟ دایرکشن معلوم نیست که مقصد امی ترانزیشن که ما داریم یا از کدام با کدام استیت است صحیح است معلوم نیست دایرکشن صحیح است. اینجا فقط ما یک لاین میکشیم صحیح است، یک لاین می باشه که او دو استیت چی میکنه کمباین میکنه صحیح است وصل میکنه. نوی undirected graph هست و directed graph همین مثالی که اینجا ما تشریح کردیم همین DFA سگوی تیرک داره صحیح است دایرکشن داره. دایرکشن مقصدی است طرف ای input که است یا ای ترانزیشن که است از طرف Q است با طرف Q1 است. so we can say that Q0 is adjacent to Q1 and Q1 is adjacent from Q0 صحیح است. مقصد ایشی است که این input از Q1 که است input از Q0 گرفته و از Q0 input رفته با Q1 ای میکسم امی input 1 که است ای از Q0 رفته با same Q1 آمده. نوی directed graph است in which the direction is mattered, okay, in which the direction is important and the direction has been shown. okay, now ایچی است we can say this is the directed graph. این directed graph است. خب DFA و NFA یا complete FA که است او directed graph است. so if you have any questions so then you can ask. so it's enough for this lecture. so inshallah in next lecture so I will explain some more example of DFA and then how to convert NFA to DFA.